up, everybody? Welcome back to By the Book Bonus Bets. This is McDonald. My name is Nejad, and Meg, the AFC North truly heating up with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens both with 7 wins. Let's check in on the odds before we go into something a little different here on By the Book Bonus Bets. Ravens are minus 200, very interesting. The Steelers plus 150. Meg, we're going to attack an argument for the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, but we're going to do it a little differently.
And tell us why.
If you recall, I practiced law for 13 years, still an attorney. I just don't practice anymore, but I was a trial attorney. I gave a lot of arguments. Some I liked, some I didn't like quite as much, if I'm being totally honest. Well, there's some arguments here for the Steelers and the Ravens, and I want to find out if you, perhaps as a member of the jury or judge, like either of my 2 arguments. And we're going to come up with a verdict after I go.
I love this. So, Sia, is counsel for the Baltimore Ravens ready to present your argument?
Yes, Your Honor, members of the jury. May it please the court, Sia Nejad on behalf of the Baltimore Ravens. Can we just start with this? It's the Baltimore Ravens. There's a reason they're minus 200 here, right? It's because they have Lamar Jackson, and they keep adding to their repertoire with Derrick Henry still healthy, kind of saving him for the postseason. You got Justice Hill. You have added Keaton Mitchell. But let's look at the schedule, because as dynamic as this team is, it really helps when both of these teams have 7 wins to take a look at what they're up against. Okay, 2 games against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's just assume for the sake of argument that it's a split, members of the jury. Los Angeles Chargers, they play at LA. LA's a good team, don't get me wrong, but I think they probably escape with that win. Home against Philly, the home part really important there. I think they escape with a win there. At the New York Giants, I don't think I need to go too deep into that one. At the Texans, I think is a losable game, but then they beat the Browns here. So I just think there's so many winnable games for this team. And don't forget, this team did add Tre'Davious White on the back end, who didn't play last week against the Bengals. He's a veteran. You know, he's kind of up there in years. He's somewhat injury prone. But this back end probably gets better as the season goes, because we know the offense is going to get them there, Meg, members of the jury. But you usually don't address the jury by name. But I happen to know this jury members of the jury, like, I just don't see a lot of losses here. And I do think the defense gets at least a little bit better. The closing thought on this, of course, is that there's not a lot of teams that can ding you with the passing game like the Cincinnati Bengals. Philadelphia Eagles, yes, maybe. But other than that, there's nobody here except maybe the Texans, if they're healthy, that can really expose this back end for the Baltimore Ravens. So that's why I think Baltimore Ravens are actually going to win the AFC North.
Key term for the Houston Texans, if they're healthy, because that in fact matters. Okay, I hear that argument. Is counsel for the Pittsburgh Steelers ready to present their argument?
Yes, counsel is present and accounted for. Sia Nejad on behalf of the Pittsburgh Steelers. What an amazing run by the Pittsburgh Steelers and members of the jury. I don't know that we've seen a ceiling yet. Mr. Unlimited, who we thought was very much limited, is playing really well, knocking out Washington, winning several games in a row. And then George Pickens, he's unlocked. Mike Williams gets a game-winning touchdown. The running game, these guys are healthy. Jalen Warren, Najee Harris. And don't forget about this defense. The thing we criticize about the Baltimore Ravens is their defense. But we saw, not only did Pittsburgh add Mike Williams in free agency or before the trade deadline, but they added Preston Smith as well. Highsmith had an injury against Washington, but that's not a season ender. So this defense is largely intact. So when you're talking about the postseason, or you're talking about getting down to the postseason, I like the Steelers here, but we have to look at the schedule, right? So Exhibit A right here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, we got 2 games against Baltimore. We've already conceded, members of the jury, that we're probably going to split those. Now we got 2 games against the Cleveland Browns. I actually think those are both wins. Cincinnati Bengals, that's going to be a tough one. That could be a loss. Kansas City Chiefs, that's a tough one, but at least they have it at home. And Cincinnati Bengals at home in Week 18, keep in mind, Cincinnati might not be in it at that point. You might not see T. Higgins or Jamar Chase or Joe Burrow in that game if things don't go really well for the Cincinnati Bengals. So keep in mind, both these teams have 7 wins, but I love the defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You look at the Baltimore Ravens defense, I'm just not seeing it. They added Tre'Davious White. This is an injury-prone cornerback. I don't think he's going to help this team at all. Don't forget, I am counsel for the Steelers now. Long story short, this Steelers team has a ceiling that we haven't seen yet. Give me the Steelers to win the AFC North.
Very, very interesting. I love the 2 arguments, but the verdict is in.
Oh, we have the verdict already. The jury did not deliberate much at all.
Nope, the verdict is in. I am the jury and the judge. So, in the matter of who will win the AFC North, we, the jury, find that the winner will be The Baltimore Ravens.
Yes. No.
Only because we have seen this team and this franchise in a place of success, and we haven't seen the Steelers be that level and find that level of success quite yet.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson has kind of turned back the time. Don't get me wrong, but we've seen Baltimore, and they have a man of a name. Derrick Henry on their football team. They can't abandon the run this postseason.
Lamar, Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Again, I understand the jury verdict, and I also like the Ravens' schedule a little bit more than I like the Pittsburgh Steelers' schedule. So I'll just have to rest with that decision. Thank you, members of the jury, judge, all of you out there for listening. We got By the Book every single Monday through Friday at 5:30. So check us out on Monumental Sports Network. But you get a lot of futures forward talk and maybe some judge and jury and old school lawyer bits for me that I can just kind of put out in the universe. See Nejad Esquire signing off. McDonald signing off. We'll see you next time on By the Book Bonus Bets.